Okay. Here we go with some Magic the Gathering news. And specifically, we have a banned and restricted announcement. Wizards seems to do this thing where they just sort of pop up and do the announcements instead of doing, quarterly or monthly, what have you. They just, when there's a problem card, they just do it. And by problem card means some kind of card that they already made enough money for it. So they're already done, right? By the way, music provided by Studio Pete. Instrumentals available on Spotify. Make sure you get it. All right, here we go. By Ian Duke, October 10th, 2022. Banned and restricted announcements. There are actually only two. We're just going to kind of skim through them. The first one is banning in standard. The Meat Hook Massacre is banned. Let's take a look at it. The Meat Hook Massacre cost X black. Legendary enchantment. When the Meat Hook Massacre enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you gain 1 life. This is like a $70 card now. It is absolutely busted. Black decks have been so strong in the last couple of years. So strong. So strong. Which I like. I like any meta where the black deck is real good. That's how it was when I started playing Magic. Or it wasn't the best deck, but it's the deck that I like to use. Anywho, Modern, we also have Yorion, Sky Nomad, which is also banned. And we'll go ahead and we'll read the article and kind of, talk about it just a little bit. Not too bad. This is a quick announcement after all. The restriction on paper is immediate. On MTG Arena, it's effective October 13th. MTG Online, October 10th. Tabletop, October 10th. Today. Here we go. Standard. As often is the case, the standard card pool rotation with the release of Dominaria United caused quite a shakeup, with cards from new set finding their places into decks and many of last year's cards shifting context within the new metagame. As the format has settled into place, the color black has proven powerful and prolific, and makes up the foundation of many of the top decks. Despite that commonly shared color, we're seeing good diversity among competitive decks and strategies, and player engagement with the format has been healthy. That's a load of crap. It's been all black decks all the time, and if it didn't, then you splashed black. You just did it. To provide a small push against the color black's play rate among competitive decks, we're choosing to ban 1 card. So many cards are problems, but we're going to choose to ban 1 card. We discussed several different options, as no single black card stood out as a major power outliner played by all decks containing black. Ultimately, we decided that banning the Meat Hook Massacre was the best choice. And by the best choice, it was since, I'm going to assume that the set, was it Midnight Hunt? No, Crimson Vow. Midnight Hunt. They already made their money. Printing is over. No need, right? So all the cards that they printed, they've already sold. I mean, more or less. So I think that's the reason why we're banning this card. This card has been a problem since the day it came out. This card has been a problem since it was previewed. And there's so many other black decks, which just goes to show you that they're black decks are going to be stacked. And with the Brothers War on the horizon, we anticipate new cards entering the format, provide tools for other decks and color combinations. In the meantime, we expect this little shakeup will keep standard enjoyable and trending towards an even healthier spot going forward as the card pool expands. And here's the thing. With the Brothers War on the horizon, we anticipate? You guys are the ones that made the cards. Don't give me this nonsense. Anyway, Meat Hook Massacre, banned, $70. I just hope that no one out there, or few as possible, are out there when you got yourself the play set for what, $300? That thing is, well, you know what? To be fair, it probably won't go down too much, but it will go down some. Moving on to Modern. Modern has been a healthy play since the last ban restricted update, with good diversity among archetypes and even the most popular competitive decks occupying a relatively small slice of the metagame, about 5 to 6% each on the MTGO. However, as table Modern play continues to rebound since the height of the pandemic, we've decided to enact change that we've been considering for some time by banning Yorion. And my thing is, companions are busted. Companions were busted when they were thought of. Companions were busted when executed. Companions were busted even after they were heavily nerfed. Heavily nerfed. I mean, 8th card for free every game? Yes, please. Yes, please. But it's at this point, it feels like we're just gonna go through each companion. We're just gonna keep banning each one at a time for one reason or another, because this was gonna happen. You ban one, then whatever the next best companion, then that's what we're gonna do, because it's a free 8th card. And even after it got nerfed, it's still dope because you can still put it into your hand and was it a special game action that cannot be interacted with. So no matter what, that card is going in your hand, even if you do have to pay 3. Anyway, Yorion most commonly appears as a companion for 4-color Omnath decks, which show a strong win rate and according to our matchup data are likely to continue the rise in popularity. In addition to win balance concerns with the deck, we're also factoring in the physical dexterity requirements of playing with a large deck for tabletop. We're aware of the metagame and reaching a point where players are playing the deck because of its perceived strength and win rate despite not enjoying how cumbersome it can be to operate. I don't even get that. Or maybe it's just because I'm a commander player and I'm already shuffling 100 cards double sleeved. The only problem I see here is that because Yorion demands, and let me just take a quick look at it. Yorion Sky Nomad Companion. Your starting deck contains at least 20 cards more than the minimum deck, which means you're over here playing with an 80 card deck, and you still have the 15 card sideboard. Wow. I mean, it's not quite. What is that card? Master. Nope. Something of Wits. You know which one I'm talking. Anyway, that card that says you win the game, you have 200 cards. Test of. Anyway, 200 cards in your library, you win the game. Yorion only leads you to have 80 cards, which apparently, if you have small hands, it's a little hard to shuffle. Since apparently the rule is officially that you must be able to shuffle your own deck unassisted. And 80 cards seems to be a lot, which I guess seems to be the biggest issue. But to be honest, I think it's the 4-color Omnath decks. I mean, those things are. They're 4 colors, so they're super strong, especially with all the mana bases now. And they are literally every Omnath deck is a good stuff deck. And especially now when you're expected to have 80 cards, well, you can have even more good stuff in this 80 card deck. Anyway, Yorion, 3 and hybrid white blue. When Yorion enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you own and control. Return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So you get everything back. All the enter the battlefield abilities, everything. Just build a board. Bam. It's done. And with the physical dexterity issues exist to a lesser degree in other formats like Pioneer, Modern specifically entails more shuffling and other physical card manipulation because of the deep card pool of card selection spells, fetch lands, and so on. Fetch lands are legal. Fetch lands get used a lot. Every deck that's competitive has 6, 7, 8 fetch lands, sometimes 10. Which is odd because then you end up with like literally just 4 or 5 regular lands. But hey, who's to say? Cards encouraging large decks like Battle of Wits. See, I should just kept reading. Battle of Wits, which is an amazing card. Let's take a quick peek. Yeah, Battle of Wits. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 200 more cards in your library, you win the game. Have existed in the past, but usually on the fringe of competitive play rather than one of the strongest decks. See, they're just random decks that you see, but these Yorion decks today it's the deck to build, the deck to beat. So finally, we've also heard that many players that the repeated triggers caused by Yorion and many of the cards surrounding it can also lead to repetitive gameplay patterns and long games with lots of downtime between the other players' actions. It's important that the net player experience playing with a top decks is a fun one, and while we're okay with such decks existing, it can only make the format less enjoyable when these patterns are associated with one of the strongest decks over a long period of time. Therefore, to make Modern as fun and accessible as it can be for all types of players, Yorion the Nomad, Sky Nomad, is banned in Modern. I guess so. Pioneer, nothing. Everyone's all good. Legacy, nothing. Apparently it's looking nice and healthy. So nothing. Ragavan Nibblepiffer, still banned. Vintage, we got nothing for Vintage this time. It's apparently in relatively good spot. Displacer Kitten and Vodalian Hexcatcher, they're not too bad, but they're out there murdering fools in Vintage. There's nothing you can do but make it win. And that is the end of the article. And like I said, not too much, but we have 2 banned cards: Meathook Massacre, Yorion Sky Nomad. I really like the Meathook Massacre. I'm glad I didn't buy any. Yorion, I got one, but I haven't even used it. So if anything, it was just a lost opportunity. And until there's an announcement or some other piece of Magic news, I'll throw it your way.